Okay, so I'm Matt, and this is another episode of Chatting Shit. I realise I can say that now because Ryan let it slip in the last video, so I feel like I've not done myself a disservice by saying it now. So there we go. Joined today by three guys who are from Liverpool, and also part of the Northwest All Stars Discord as well. And that's Phil, Lewis, and Jay. How are we all?
Very well.
Not too bad, thank you.
Right, mate.
Grand.
Yourself?
Yeah, not bad, thanks, mate. Not bad. Really getting stuck into this meta now. I think it's really interesting. One of those where I thought the team of six picked itself, but now I want about 12 things. So hopefully you guys can help shed some light on this. So again, we've all picked a Pokemon we're going to try and talk about and try and convince each other to use. Some of us have got a tougher task than others. Let's put it that way. Phil's got a fairly easy task. Phil, what's your mon?
My mon is Sudowoodo. I've been waiting ages to do that impression. I love this. I love this false tree. I love this fake tree. It's great for farming down stuff and then firing off something absolutely explosive. So yeah, as long as you can play it well, it's going to help a great deal.
Right. Anything else? Or are we done?
Yeah, do you want numbers?
That's it. I'm sold. Yeah, we like to.
Do you want numbers? Because I felt Mozatron did a cracking job with numbers. It's more of a closer, isn't it? It's more of a closer. Farm down and close off. So in the zeros, basically beats everything except for grass. And one of our picks for later on, but I'll leave that spoiler for later. There's a few others, but nothing too meta. So yeah, just grass is its main issue. So as a closer, you're talking 106 wins. 0 shields, 106 wins, which is what, 78%?
Nice.
But something I like to do is, as I initially started off with Wiggly as my mon last month, notice how my team evolved past Wiggly, is I look for something which I don't mind having shield disadvantage. So if we're talking, let's say 2-1, because let's face it, it's a squishy mon, but you can farm down and throw into the next. 2-1, 88% win rate. Absolute chuffed. Obviously, if you can switch it in on something which, like Lapras and it's low health, get that energy, you're laughing. So yeah, I'm loving Sudo.
Sudowoodo. Yeah, I think it looks a really good pick. Did you use it in Timeless?
I did. I used it. I am well adversed with Sudowoodo. I think Jay will back me up that I've thrown earthquakes into Swampert in the past and it took him by surprise. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think Sudowoodo is something I'm definitely excited to use. And currently, right now, like if you'd have asked me an hour ago what my team was going to be, I'd have given you 2 lock-ins, and that would have been Sudowoodo and Vespiquen. I'm now a bit iffy on Vespiquen because that's a good idea, but I think Sudowoodo is just amazing. I think it's awesome. Yeah, and I'm really excited about it too because I remember when I first started properly getting into PvP, sort of around the time of Kingdom Cup. I sort of figured out that really whether something's good or not is quite often just dependent on its moves. Forget stats, forget typing to some extent. And I saw that Sudowoodo had counter and rock slide, and I thought, right, this is something that's going to be good one day. Forget about the fact that Ponsley has a 10k unlock. I just there and then spent 75k unlocking it. Yeah, haven't used it since. Did a bit of practice in times with it, but decided it wasn't quite right. So after been waiting a long time for this, So yeah, I'm quite excited about Sudowoodo.
Yeah, pieces of advice is definitely do it as a Bonsley. So trade Bonsleys to people, socially distanced, of course, and get a decent IV, then unlock as a Bonsley before evolving.
Yeah, saves you a lot of Stardust there.
Massive.
But Jay, Lewis, any thoughts on Sudowoodo?
I haven't got one. I am considering it, but I'm more of a risk taker, so I'm looking at the possibility of running Breloom. So
Nice.
but,
Nice.
It swept my team the other day.
We'll see how it develops. Yeah.
Yeah,
It swept my team of 3 the other day.
Yeah, I think we could very well be in a position where, in a sort of week's time, when it's all starting to settle down and kick off, we'll see a lot of teams of 6 that have 4 things weak to Breloom, because I think people might be starting to focus so much on countering Sudowoodo rather than countering the fighting types. That Breloom could sweep in and do some work. Kind of a bit like back in Forest Cup. Certainly something I fell foul of was, rather than trying to counter fire types, I was trying to counter Blaziken. So I was using Galvantula and essentially, I was using Galvantula and Jumpluff as my fire type counters, which works fine against Blaziken, but as soon as you come up against a Castform
Or a Heatmore.
Or a Heatmore, yeah, so some serious problems there. So I think Breloom is in with a shout, but I think that's a risk taker's pick for sure. Lewis, any thoughts?
I'd rather go Sudowoodo than Breloom, but I can see the case for Breloom. It's obviously not much that's going to do fighting type damage, and Sudowoodo is probably the best of the bunch. And a lot of things are weak to fighting, so it's essential to have something that can do fighting damage. So Sudowoodo is probably the best pick out of those.
Yeah, for sure. Any suggestions of like good teammates for Sudowoodo, Phil?
I've been running it with Lapras because it's such a tanky, safe switch. What's it weak to? Grass. So you're looking for something to counter the grass. I like Jumpluff.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah, Jumpluff, Lapras. If you give me 2 seconds, I can do a quick team build.
I don't want to give people too much away. But yeah, I think it's interesting you mentioned Jumpluff because I think certainly the 3 grass types I'm considering are Jumpluff, Venusaur, and Meganium. Purely because Meganium loses to the other 2, but it's the one that you can switch into Lapras, which I think could be big. But of course, it loses to the other grass types, so that's not going to suit you well as a Sudowoodo partner because you wanted to beat the grass types. I think Venusaur and Jumpluff have an interesting relationship because I think it's pretty close. I think Jumpluff just beats Venusaur, but if either of them get a 1 fast move advantage, I think
Sludge Bomb, yeah.
Yeah, it changes. So, yeah, I think Jumpluff's an interesting shout.
The bees would be worth a shout.
Yeah.
So, Comday Beedrill or non-Comday Beedrill, isn't that right, Jay? took me by surprise the other day. Or Vespiquen.
It took myself by surprise.
or Snowy Castform.
Castform. I like that pick.
Yeah.
Grand. Okay, well let's move on then. Unless anyone's got any final thoughts on Sudowoodo. No. Okay, so we'll go to Jay next. With something he's quite keen to defend after Ryan gave it some abuse.
Quite literally chatted shit.
Yes, quite literally in the previous episode.
Say, it's all of you. You agree.
Go on then.
So, for Jess, I'm going to defend Magcargo's honour. So basically it's Rock and Fire. I'm going to run it with Rock Throw, but you could run it with Ember. There are like certain situations you could think about, but personally, it's Rock Thrower for me. The first thing I'm just going to discuss is all your picks yesterday, you picked Umbreon, Lapras, Houndoom, and Snowy Castform. With Rockrow, Magcargo pretty much owns everything there of an Umbreon. And in the one shield, it can win. And if you want to put energy on it, yeah,
Wow.
in the ones.
Is that because of overheat?
And if you want to put, and if you want to put 1 or 2 Rockrows worth of energy on it, then yeah, it's like a clean sweep. So, just before you say it's shit, but it's definitely. I think it's definitely like more of a closer, to be honest, because of overheat. If shield are down and you get to that overheat, it's going to pretty much devastate 90% of the meta. It doesn't lose to bugs, other than maybe one that you're going to talk about, Matthew. But pretty much every bug, you can just rock throw down. It resists normal, so if some man wants the skull bash, your Magcargo will Lapras fill.
Or somebody catches it very nicely.
Okay. That's fair enough. But no, being serious though, like it's got decent matchups in the 2s, but you do end up with a shield disadvantage. But you're gonna end up being able to throw, and they're gonna have to shield pretty much whatever you're gonna throw.
Yeah.
The 1s is dodgy, but the 0s, like I said, I think for me, I'm looking at it as a finisher. Something like with Sorceress, I was using Tentacruel a lot, and I sort of learned very late on that it was a finisher. Like, because I wasn't running Acid Spray, I was Sludge Wave, Hydro Pump, and I think it's very similar in the sense of like it can take a hit, but it's going to be a harder hit. So if you can't take it out, you haven't got a shield, it's going to do very well for you. The only argument against it is that it should have better moves. I do think if it had Smackdown, Smackdown or like Rock Slide, if it could bait, it would be such an amazing Pokemon. But like, I don't think it should be overlooked. Like, it's ranked high enough on PvPoke, and it definitely has a role. Personally, it definitely has a role in my team. I've used it many a cup.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think it's interesting what you say about the moves. That might be enough to put people off. It's sort of shafted on all fronts, really, isn't it? Like, it's got Rock Throw instead of Smackdown. It's got Ember instead of Fire Spin. It's not
on
going to
Edge instead of Rock Slide.
Yeah, but if you know how to play it right, it can be devastating, of course. I'm interested in why you'd pick Magcargo over the other rock types. Okay, so we had a few technical difficulties there, but Jay's back with us to tell us why Magcargo is worth considering it over the other rock types.
Yeah, so obviously with the likes of Caracos, I haven't tested it, I haven't looked at it, I haven't got one. The Alolan, Graveler and Golem, they're great. I do think Volt Switch is a fantastic move, but I think they're quite limited with what they can do. With like Graveler's only got rock charge moves. They take super effective from grass, where Magcargo is neutral. So at least, and it's got the fire move, so it can hit back. So like if shield's down and you're against a Meganium or a Venusaur, if you're not Magcargo, you're screwed basically. So at least you've got that fire charge move to be able to try and one-hit KO.
Yeah, fair enough. And I guess that doesn't even that applies further afield than just the grass types, because there's not much in the cup that wants to take an overheat from
yeah, definitely.
Is wireless probably the only thing, or the rock types?
Yeah.
But you got. I mean, Smackdown probably. I haven't actually looked at this wireless, but Smackdown will still do a decent chunk.
Yeah, the Stone Edge, yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Stone Edge, yeah. So, I'm just dreaming there, thinking it's got Smackdown. But yeah.
What about you guys?
Obviously, Sudowoodo obviously can own it, but there are certain scenarios where you might get the overheat off on it.
Yeah, the different roles, aren't they? The different different ways.
But I mean, I paired Magcargo with. I actually paired it with Breloom in the Forest Cup for one of my cups, and I went 4-1, and they really did go pretty well together in that cup. So without giving long me strat away, probably going to do that again. See how we go with it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Why not?
but probably yeah. There you go.
Lewis, Phil, any thoughts on Magcargo?
I mean, it's as a rock thrower, it does its job. It beats cast form, the snowy cast form. Beats the bees. I think Lapras is probably the only one that you feel it should beat, but it doesn't because that's surf.
Only in the ones it loses, it beats in the zeros and the twos.
Right, fab. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think, and like knowing stuff like that is going to be crucial to playing it. It's going to be one of those things, I think, where you as the Magcargo user know the Sims, but your opponent probably doesn't, because it's not going to be something that they're going to think of straight away as something that they need to know about, I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, and part of the reason why, pair it with like a Breloom, you got Breloom for hopefully the shield pressure. And then if you can save a shield through Magcargo and their shield's down, like, it's highly unlikely that whatever they've got left is going to be able to beat you. So,
the two shield's brutal.
yeah, man.
Well, against
Because you
Lapras,
literally because you just farm it down after the second.
Yeah.
So you get one off, it's shielded, and then you're almost there at another Stone Edge. You've still got, 80 out of 115 health. You're laughing.
Yeah. Same
Obviously,
with
you've got to
jump
look
fluff as well. Yeah. It pretty much owns jump fluff, and even in the ones, it's really close. So again, it's like if you might have a bit of energy, depends on how much health you've got left. But it's, I think it is just, it might be overlooked, and it's definitely underrated in my opinion. So.
Yeah. No, I think you've done it justice there.
I think the only issue that you'd have to play it with something that can play without shields, because you're going to need to protect, particularly if you're running into Breloom, you're going to need to protect both of those. So you're going to have something else that's a bit more tanky that can take a charge move or two without having to shield.
Yeah.
Like Umbreon or Lapras.
Yeah, I think we've got some good options there. I think I'm certainly more open to it now than I was 20 minutes ago, that's for sure. I'll retract any negative comments I gave it, and I hope you'll forgive me.
If you pick it, I'll forgive you. There you go.
Okay, so back after more technical difficulties, but we'll get through now, I'm sure. So just finished speaking about Magcargo, and next up I'm going to talk about Pinsir. Now, when this first came out, I was pretty set on Vespiquen as a sort of go-to pick, because I liked the power gem coverage for Lapras. There's not a great deal in this cup that beats the bugs apart from the rock types, like Magcargo with the pure rock damage, and so with Vespiquen being the sort of the queen bug or whatever that sort of beats the other bugs, I can sort of see people trying to shoehorn ice types in as a bug counter, especially with Lapras being so bulky, and that's fine, because Vespiquen can hit Lapras back for 45% or whatever with power gem, but Pinsir can hit it back with close combat for 75%, and it can tank a surf, and it can get to 2 close combats. So you can beat Lapras at a shield disadvantage, which I think is just crazy. Now, you're still going to struggle against the rock types, but you're not double weak to them like Vespiquen is, and you've got close combat. So, and you're going to be faster to that close combat than any rock type is to any of its charge moves. So you're going to get a shield off a rock type unless they want to die. You've got even Sudowoodo in zeros, you're going to get to close combat before Sudowoodo is going to get to the rock slide to kill you. And if you double shield against Sudowoodo, I think you can come out with quite a lot of health on the Pinsir, because as fragile as it is, it's resisting counter.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't let a rock slide through, which I presume would kill you, even from fall or from close to. And that's the same with any of the bugs, to be fair. As long as you don't let a rock slide through, you come out with a lot of health. So yeah, I just think Pinsir is, given that we've got generalists like Umbreon and like Lapras and to a certain extent Sableye, given that we've got these things that don't necessarily need as many shields, or are impossible to beat more or less with a shield advantage, I think Pinsir could be a really good safe swap, because no matter what your opponent's going to switch into Pinsir, you're going to get a move off that's either going to kill it before it kills Pinsir, or you're going to just beat the switching. So you're going to take a shield advantage. You're going to take a shield, or you're going to take switch advantage. I think switch advantage is great, because it might mean you're able to line up a Sudowoodo with a rock type later, or something of that, or a grass type up against a Sudowoodo, which will win you the game more or less, or a shield advantage if you want to play with something like Lapras and Umbreon in the back. All of a sudden, they're really tough to beat. So yeah, I've not looked into it really. No stats on it whatsoever, apart from the fact that it can beat Lapras at 0-1 shield disadvantage with a single Fury Cutter lead. But yeah, I just think it could have some really interesting strategic play. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I'll let Jay take this one.
Well, it beats Magcargo, which is a bit of a piss take. but no, I mean, I've looked at Pinsir as well, because I've got a decent rank shiny, but it is very glassy. But yeah, close combat is just such a fantastic move, and nothing wants to take it. I don't care what it is. Like, you don't want to take a close combat, especially 2, because you can guarantee your Pinsir, if you swap it in, by the time they switch out, whatever they're going to switch in, you're going to get the 2 fast moves, because counter charges so well and counter hits hard. So I think it is a good shout, but it's going to, maybe it's like the Frostlass of the cup, in the sense of it's glassy, but it hits hard and you do not want to take a hit from it. But no, yeah, I think it beats a hell of a lot, especially like shields down, because you get to the close combat before they're going to get to anything. So
yeah,
I think it's a solid pick if you know how to use it.
I mean, Magcargo takes 7 rock throws and deletes it. And after this, everyone's going to have Magcargos in the teams after this.
Yeah, but if in the zeros though, Pinsir wins, doesn't it?
Does it not get to
close combat?
Yeah, it must get to a close combat before it gets.
Yeah, put close combat on Pinsir, it wins. It beats Magcargo in zeros.
Yeah.
If you've got a decent IV Magcargo, it survives.
So I've got a rank. I think I've got a rank 1.
Look how happy he is.
It does 94. It does 94 of your 115.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Fury Cutters are probably doing 1 each, I guess, as well. So
Yeah.
Because of the resistance of bug. Yeah.
Another thing to watch out for is certainly on any sort of meta diagrams you'll see an arrow pointing from the bug types to the grass types, and Pinsir against Venusaur isn't as clear or clean as you might want it to be. So, I mean, no one's. Well, I say this, but I can't see many people switching a Venusaur into a Pinsir. But if it does happen, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world to Venusaur. So
it is a shame that X-Scissor is such a poor move.
Yeah.
A bug is supposed to beat grass.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd say it's not just Venusaur, any grass poison. Pinsir's going to struggle with.
Yeah.
The pure grasses like Meganium is going to do fine, but the ones with the poison subtype, and it's really going to struggle.
Yeah. I'm not sure how it goes against Jumpluff. Maybe Phil will know a bit more about that. That's a Jumpluff.
It loses against Jumpluff, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds.
Because of the area lace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
3, 5. Yeah.
So I think what we're sort of getting to here is that perhaps if you were to run Pinsir, a double bug line might be on the cards, or a double bug team, because you can't rely on generally speaking, you're going to rely on your bugs to beat your grasses, because you don't really want to rely on Lapras to do it, in my opinion. Unless you're running another ice type, which is completely fine. But yeah, I just think the bug types need to beat the grasses. They need to beat the grasses, and that's why I was drawn to Vespiquen to begin with, because of the sort of status of the top of the bug pile. But I think Pinsir plays. It's almost a different role. Yeah, it's a strange one. It's old Pinsir. It could be. I think when you see people's diagrams, you'll see it locked in with the bugs, but I think it's probably better suited to the bit on the side where it's got a mold breaker area.
Yeah. I mean, what about Superpower though? Because obviously Superpower's an interesting move. So you prefer close combat over that, or?
I do. I think the second after the first Superpower, the second Superpower is no longer such a great move because of the attack debuff. I think, and given that you probably thrown 2 back to back, the defense debuff from close combat isn't really making a difference. And on something as classy as Pinsir anyway, like you might die 1 rock throw faster rather than you might do otherwise.
That's one of them. Would you get to 2 superpowers against a rock thrower? I don't know, because you might not get to. Oh, you wouldn't get to 2 close combats, but you probably wouldn't. No. I'm sorry, I think I said as well, it's got counter. It does not count, does it? It's bloody Rock Smash.
Yeah.
You don't want to run Rock Smash on it. Fury Cutter in it.
Yeah. I played Pikachu in Rose, and he was running Rock Smash Swalot. And he caught out my Probo Pass, he did. So it's going to take some serious foresight to run Rock Smash. But yeah, Fury Cutter's the way to go. Yeah. Yeah. Any other final thoughts on Pinsir?
Well, I was going to say, what's it like against the Alolan, like the Golems and the Gravelers? Because obviously, if they're running electric, then I presume you could probably win that matchups. Yeah,
it beats them. Yeah, I seem to remember that's one of the few ones I have looked at. That's
why you pick Magcargo.
Yeah. If you get a bait versus you win all shields, or if you get, I think it's 1 or 2 Fury Cutter leads, you can go straight close combat, and getting a Fury Cutter advantage is easy. Like it's not like getting a confusion advantage or a vault switch. It's
No need to bait, just double close combat.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, there we go. Yeah, quite like the look of Pinsir.
It dies with a Rock Blast, but.
Oh yeah, but
but it wins CMP because of the attack. Yeah.
The massive attack.
Yeah. Right. Well, if there's nothing else on Pinsir, we'll move on to Lewis and his sort of replacement ice type, I guess. Although I might be wrong.
No, you'd be right. I would be running it with Ice Fang as basically a replacement ice type. It pairs quite well with Phil and Jay's picks in that they're both obviously a little bit weak to grass, and this, because it's poison subtyping and does ice damage, it basically deletes all grasses in all shield scenarios. So in all even shield scenarios, it beats every grass except Meganium in the 0 shields because of Earthquake.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Nice.
PvPoke suggests running it with Aquatail and Crunch. I say swap one of those two out for Fell Stinger.
Oh, why?
Yeah,
why is
no,
that?
I agree with that.
It narrowly drops your win percentage against the entire meta, but it picks up a couple of big wins in the 1s and 2s. It actually beats Umbreon in the 1s and 2s, and it also beats Vespiquen in both.
Yeah, I think the thing with Drapion, as with any other ice type, I think you make a really solid point about it resisting the grasses, which the other ice types don't do. I think it still suffers from the same problem that all the other ice types have, in that they have nothing to take Lapras on, and so I think I'd personally want to keep Crunch or Sludge Bomb on there. Aquatail, I could be tempted to drop, but rock types could be big. I don't know. Fell Stinger, I feel like Fell Stinger, you can catch your opponent out with it once, but that, in a best of 3, that might be all you need. So yeah.
Yeah, with Fell Stinger, you get obviously your second move. You've got a choice. You can use it depending on what you've got in your team of 6 and what you're struggling coverage wise. If you're struggling to cover Magcargo, you would run Aquatail, because it would still comfortably beat Magcargo because of its double weakness. Obviously, if you're struggling against
because Magcargo's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're struggling against things like Frostlash, you'd run Crunch. If you're struggling against grasses, you'd run Sludge Bomb.
Yeah. I think it's a good shout. Not something I've put much thought into, to be honest. But I seem to be like the stage of team building I'm at the minute is sort of like, oh crap, I've not got anything to beat the grass types. And I think if people are in a similar point, in a similar stage, certainly look at Drapion. What was it? There was a similar cup we had a few months ago. I forget which one it was, where it acted as an Timeless. Yeah, Timeless was when it got Felstinger, wasn't it? And then it just beat everything in 2s with Bite and Felstinger. But there was one more recent. I forget which one it was, where it worked as an anti-flyer.
Fusion.
Oh
no, it wouldn't have been in Fusion because it's too expensive.
What was the one that you kept battering me in, Phil? Toxic, that's the one. There wasn't any anti-flyers in Toxic apart from, well, there was Steelix, I guess. But it was an interesting option there as well because of the Ice Fang was a fast mover, and I think I remember people having a lot of success using it as an anti-flyer and as an anti-grass there. So I think it's definitely something that that's got form, and unlike the other ice types, it's got a bit of uncertainty about it. Like if you see Drapion on your opponent's team, you've got to keep in mind that it might be Bite, really, which I think is a plus point. Any other thoughts on Drapion?
It definitely has to be used as an opener, as a lead. It's not great in a closing role.
Even
so my car goes for that.
even with Felstinger. I guess that's you want to put the shields into it, I guess, wouldn't you? Yeah. And would you run that with something like Lapras, or is it one
potentially? Potentially.
Yeah, I think Lapras seems to be, to me, just something you can just stick on any team. Sort of similar with Umbreon. I think Drapion's certainly got play. I don't see it being something that I might build around, but it might be one of those really niche things that you slot in at the end that fills a couple of holes. Have you found that it's got any particularly good partners or anything that it covers? Any weaknesses that it?
Obviously, it struggles against the actual ice types.
Yeah.
So it's best paired with what's the picks that, the picks that Phil and Jay highlighted earlier.
Yeah. Fair. Well, let's leave it.
Work quite well.
Yeah. Well, practice tournaments will be coming up soon. I think there's one in All Stars on Monday, isn't there?
Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we'll be looking to run one in Belters on Tuesday as well.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm really excited about this. It's the first tournament we've had in a while where I've got no idea what I want to run. I don't think I'm going to run Umbreon. I just think I just don't know what it does. I just can't get my head around it. And I think I'd rather have things that I understand, like Drapion that has a role, like Magcargo that has a role. I think the meta's
it just outbulks everything rather than beats everything. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, it like doesn't have a role. It's like that isn't a definitive role. It just has the bulk and the spamminess. That's it, and it's like.
Especially when you can stick Lapras in there, in that role.
Yeah. Every team's going to have at least 2 or 3 Umbreon counters, so I don't see the need.
Yeah, I did my first practice battle last night, and I did it with Lost Lapras, and I ended up having 5 Umbreon counters. Well, loose Umbreon counters. I had 3 Umbreon counters and Venusaur, which you don't want to be switching into. Don't think anything wants to switch into Venusaur really, but that's one for another day, I think. Certainly one of my favourites. But yeah, well, let's leave it there then. Thanks for joining. Looking forward to see how it develops.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Matt.
No,
yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's been good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Looking forward to seeing the Magcargo, Jay. Yeah, I think of all the things we've discussed, I think Magcargo might catch people out the most. I think Sudowoodo, Pinsir and Drapion, you see it sat there and think, oh, I've got to
I know what that does.
Yeah, Magcargo, you might look at and think, that's useless, he's never going to bring that. And then, yeah.
Definitely, I agree. I think the main downside to it, without trying to like dissuade people, because I want everyone to pick it, is how it performs against other rocks, just because it doesn't have anything to throw at other rock types. So, because it's part fire, it's weak to rock. So that's probably the worst part of it for me. But other than that, that's why I've got Breloom.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, like the strongest things in the cup to me, or arguably, look like Sudowoodo and the grasses. So you're covering rocks pretty well. Yeah. Well, let's leave it there then before we get too distracted. But yeah, so thanks again, and catch you all later.
Yeah, cheers, Matt. Thank you.
See you, Matt.
Okay,
Big
so what was that, mate?
I was just about to say Lewis is our big baller, but
MVP.